Hello guys, and welcome to a new War Thunder video today by me, Vulcan. Today I'm going to be taking a look at the Japanese bombers, and that includes the H6K4. Last time I looked at the PBY Catalina. This time I'm looking at the Japanese version of a bomber seaplane, which is the H6K4. I've also got the G4M1 and another type, the KI-49I. So the H6K4, as a lot of you guys know, because it is quite a popular aircraft, is a bombing seaplane. It was also used for reconnaissance, escort, submarine search, bombing, and search and rescue. The G4M1 is actually a torpedo bomber, which was the first Japanese plane with retractable landing gear. How exciting is that? It was basically made by the Japanese so that they could protect themselves against enemy naval movements, and basically it was supposed to be fast, and by being so it had zero fuel tank protection, because basically if they did have fuel tank protection it would make it slower, so they took it away. But unfortunately the fighters were fast enough to catch up, and lots of fires occurred. Silly Japanese with their fire. And we've also got the KI-49, if you didn't know, is actually a medium bomber, and it didn't need escort because it does feature its own 20mm cannon, and it has a lot of machine guns on it. It also has armour for the crew and self-sealing fuel tanks. So a very nice vehicle to use. Now, basically, the H6K4 is going to be the first one I take out. We got four 7.7mm Type 92 machine guns. Historically, they used Type 97 machine guns, which were actually nicknamed the Lewis machine guns, which is quite interesting because Lewis is my real name. And we have obviously the infamous rear turret of the H6K4, which has a 20mm cannon. So we're going to see how that turns out. I had unlocked the other camouflage, but it kind of took it away from me, and I don't know why, so we're back to the green camouflage. I normally use the white one. And I'm also using Type 99 Mod 80 bombs. Now the reason for these, I actually searched these on the internet, and I found out that the Mod 80 bombs are armor piercing, kinetic, like they have a lot of kinetic energy, and they're armor piercing bombs. So they do a lot more damage than the other type of 1,000-pound bomb that you can get, which are basically AoE damage. So if you want to destroy convoys, you take the other kind of bombs. In this case, I use these for destroying destroyers and heavy pillboxes, which give you a lot of XP. I'll go over the G4M4 or M1 when we get there. So let's take this H6K4 out for a spin. A really huge aircraft. It looks like we've got a really nice map today to actually demonstrate the powerful nature of this bomber. So I'm going to be flying over their fleet, and we're going to be destroying destroyers, which is quite ironic. So yeah, as you can see, we've got the machine gunner on the front, we've got two side gunners and a top gunner, which is sitting on the top of the rear side there, and then we have our rear gunner, which is a 20mm cannon. And if I just jump onto him quickly, you can see that basically all of these can fire backwards. Now I did do a video on this separately, I believe, but I wanted to go through it again today purely because I had the chance, and I'm looking at Japanese bombers and I really enjoy playing this one. So hopefully I will cover all of the bombers just as accurately as this one, and I have basically read the information that War Thunder provides in the hangar, so make sure you go check that out if you're interested in those particular bombers. I'm going to just say just below the cloud cover so I can see and judge these the movement of these destroyers correctly, and hopefully land a couple of really nice shots onto these boats. So for the person who has asked me in the comments in the last video about can there be sea battles where you destroy sea vehicles like destroyers and battleships, and yes you can, and today I'm going to demonstrate that. We're going to have to get below the cloud cover. And we're coming up to destroyers shortly. There is one just there. They actually move at quite fast, so I'm going to have to judge this. I'm actually going to go for this right side one because I'm straight onto that. If I go like this, yeah, that'll be a lot nicer. So generally I judge it from the end of, you see the stream that they're leaving behind them as they move along. That's a good way to judge how far you need to drop the bomb. I'll drop the second one the same length ahead, and we'll see if those hit. And we are being utterly owned by something. Looks like ME 410, which I have absolutely just pwned that guy, but I've taken a ton of damage. Now let's see if the second bomb, I think the bomb's just landed, and I did manage to destroy the ME 410, which is actually a tier 8 aircraft, but as you can see he's destroyed one of my engines, knocked that out, and my entire body is absolutely raped. So I'm not sure how well we're going to do without actually turning around. You can see my wings look really dodgy, like the flaps have been destroyed but the end of the flaps is still there, which is kind of strange. Anyway, 27 seconds until my bombs reload, but it looks like we actually got hit by flak and, well, my wing blew off. And how unfortunate. Never mind, we managed to shoot down an ME 410. I think that's a perfectly good trade, so to speak. Anyway, moving on to the G4 M1. Now this comes with 4 250-pound bombs. Now the reason I don't take the 12 6-pound bombs is, or the 12 mod 6 bombs, is because I believe that the 250-pound bombs are a lot more useful for taking out units over time, and as long as I stay alive I'll be able to sort out everything okay. But here you can see again we have 4 Type 92 machine guns and another 20mm cannon on this particular aircraft. So let's take this bad boy out for a spin. Now I'm not as much of a fan of the machine gun coverage on this particular plane. The side gunners can't actually fire backwards on this plane like the H6K4 can. Only the rear gunner can fire backwards, and I believe the 20mm cannon is actually mounted on the back, so that isn't too much of a problem. You can say hi to the little Japanese dude sitting in the back. Look, he has a nice smile on his face. And then we got one of those 7.7mm on the top. We got one on the right side, one on the left side, and then one in the front. Now I've never really got why bombers have a front-facing machine gun, because it doesn't really seem to get used too often. It seems like a bit of a waste really when you could just put it somewhere else, like on the belly. Belly gunners always seem quite good because as planes fly past they go underneath your planes, so having a belly gunner is quite useful. Anyway, later we're going to dive down and take out some of these artillery units. Now it's not much of a dive bomber, but it does travel bloody fast, so we'll see what we can do. I'm just actually going to dive down like this for a little while. We've got 600 kilometers per hour. It's actually quite maneuverable with this as well. And we have completely overshot those artillery units, so we're going to actually just have to do these next ones along. So we've got an artillery unit there that we're going to bomb. We have 4 bombs, so we're going to drop one here, and we're going to drop one on the next one coming up. I think this is the one that actually shot me down, and we'll go into a nice diving bomb sort of thing for these 2 on the right side here. Pretty sure I can line these up nicely. And we're going to pull away and hope that a plane doesn't decide to follow us. But no, looks like we got a bow fighter on our ass. I'm actually going to try and pull away from him. This thing turned so quickly. It's actually ridiculous how fast that just turned around. I didn't realise these could turn that quickly. It looks like the bow fighters decided to come back round. And I'm going to out-turn him again, which is... Oh my lord. Okie dokie then. A buffalo just ripped his wing off on my wing and killed himself. Meanwhile, a Ju-87 with 2 cannons just shot off my wing with 1 shot of a 37mm cannon. Yeah. Nice. Okie dokie, the last of the bombers I'm looking at today. We have 6 turrets on this one. As I said, it's very, very well armed, but it doesn't have its own cannon. It only has 6 Type 89 machine guns, which are 7.7mm. So we'll see how we can do with this one. We actually have 12 50kg bombs, because I haven't actually played with this bomber that much. I used to use it in domination a lot to land and capture airfields. Hopefully this will be a lot more successful than that last bombing run just was, when I was trying to dogfight with a bow fighter and then got shot down by a Stuka, which is quite amusing. Either way, I'm not much of a fan of bombers, and you're probably wondering why I dive into fighters so much, and that is literally just to basically bring more fun into bombing. Like, I don't like sitting at high altitudes and just bombing, because it gets really, really boring. And although it's perfectly possible and gets you plenty of XP if you do, it's definitely not as fun as just sort of, like, you know, diving into loads of fighters and trying to shoot them down with your rear guns, especially with the H6K4. It's unfortunate that that got hit by an ME410, because otherwise we probably would have been able to do a lot more damage, and especially with the destroyers there, I probably would have been able to kill a couple of them. Looks like the Ju-87 though just absolutely annihilated that convoy. Holy crap. Okay, we're going to have to go for these other aircraft behind it then. Right, we just dropped 5 bombs. And I'm going to bring it over to the side. We're going to drop them onto one of these destroyers. And bombs away. So, then we're going to fly off into the distance. I don't have a very good crew on this particular plane, so we'll see what we can do. Looks like I managed to destroy one of the ground targets I was originally aiming for. I've only actually hit 5 ground targets, but I did get that 1 kill, air kill on the ME410 as he got hit by my rear gunner on the H6K4 and I absolutely annihilated the plane. But it looks like I actually missed with the last of the 50kg bombs onto the destroyer, so we're going to have to come around for another run eventually. But I'm probably going to try and finish off that last armoured car before doing so, and maybe just going for some of these, more of these ground targets. I don't really want to get destroyed too quickly by the amount of pure fighters that there are in this area before the game finishes. Now, I'm not a fan of the colour scheme. Like, I like the white colour scheme of the bombers on the Japanese, but I added a little bit of colour to their wings. So these 2 symbols that you can see on either side aren't actually normally there. I've added them as decals, just so you guys know. So let's try and take care of, actually they're destroyers. 50kg bombs I don't think actually do much to destroyers, that's why I had trouble hurting them before. And the armoured car is on the left there, so we'll see what we can do. I believe the artillery post over on the right side has actually been destroyed, and actually the last armoured car on land has been as well. But it looks like if I don't destroy these quickly, then we're actually going to lose the game. I'm not sure what we actually have alive still, but let's just drop loads of bombs onto this. Yep, we hit that nice and hard. And the BF-109 is actually peppering that with its cannons, which makes absolutely no sense, and did actually just ram it. Okay. So once this is reloaded again, we'll go around on that destroyer, hopefully destroy it because it's on fire, and then we'll have to go for the heavy cruiser. It does seem pretty fast, considering. Not as fast as the G4M1. That went really fast, and I was really surprised at how fast that could turn. They have actually improved a lot of the flight models of the bombers since the last patch, but I actually got balance there, which destroyed a rank 5, or a plane 5 ranks higher than my own. So that was like when I killed that rank 8 ME410 with my H6K4, which is rank 3, which is quite amusing. Either way, wasn't the best game, but hopefully demonstrated some of the power of the bombers on the Japanese side. I only came like 12th or whatever it was on my team, but I really like the Japanese bombers. I don't tend to use them that often because I really prefer their fighters, like the Zeros. They're just so awesome. But I believe, honestly, that the Japanese have some of the best bombers, and in the background there you can see that one of the biggest bombers on the Japanese tree. If we just go into the hangar quickly of the Japanese tree, you can see that the bombers have been extended. A while back they added a patch where they added the new biggest bomber of the game, and if we just quickly jump into the hangar with this aircraft, you can see that it's pretty damn big, and it has 4 engines, and I look forward to getting my hands on that. It is actually a rank 16 aircraft. The one before it, which is the one just behind, is just as big as well, if not bigger. The wingspan seems a bit bigger on this one, so this is probably the biggest aircraft in the game. The rear wing is absolutely huge. Look at that. I haven't actually seen any of these in the actual game yet, so once I get my hands on it, I will definitely show the new heavy bombers to you. But for now, hopefully that was a decent look at the H6K4, the G4M1 and the KI-49I. And hopefully you enjoyed it. Hopefully it was informative. I'm trying to add more information to these kinds of videos, just so you guys know a bit more about the aircraft, and you can say to your friends when you're playing, oh, did you know that this is actually a torpedo bomber, or something like that. I don't know. Either way, hopefully you guys enjoyed it. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Goodbye.